Greetings everyone. This is another Dark Souls 3 related video. This time we cover the Winged Knights and Heavenly Daughter Gertrude. Winged Knights are one of my favorite enemies in Dark Souls 3, so I'd like to discuss them in a little more detail. Let's start with their appearance. Well, probably the first thing about their appearance that bears mentioning is their wings. These wings are based on the wings of Polish-Lithuanian winged hussars, only somewhat scaled down in size. Another interesting part of their gear is their helmet. Their helmets are based on real-life helmets with visors, popular in 16th century Germany and Austria. Well, I guess it would be more correct to say that such helmets with visors are associated with armor sets of Holy Roman Emperor Maximilian I. There is even the term Maximilian armor used to refer to this style. However, this is not the first time when Maximilian armors have served as inspirations for Dark Souls armors. I guess it is already well known that the horned helmet, which was made for Maximilian I and presented by him to Henry VIII, was an inspiration for the helmet of Don Hell of Xena in the first Dark Souls. Speaking of weird-looking helmets, Morn's gargoyle head helmet looks like it too is in fact based on a real-life ceremonial helmet. But let's get back to the Winged Knights. As for their armor and weapons that are used in swinging attacks, they bear a certain resemblance to Knight Azan as he appears later in the Berserk manga. However, there is another type of Winged Knight. Ascended Winged Knights in golden armor. Unlike their ordinary counterparts, they have large wings that they use to fly. And these wings bear a certain resemblance to the wings of Mosgus from the Berserk manga in his Apostle Spawn angel form. Another peculiar element of their equipment are their twin axes. According to their description, this weapon is more befitting an executioner, and these axes are designed to fit the human body, which is a little weird for a weapon wielded by knights. But these axes are in fact a reference to the guillotine axe from Demon Souls, which was wielded by executioner Miralda, the eccentric woman who served as the king's own executioner.
Foolish traitor to the king!
And now, let's talk a little about the lore behind the Winged Knights. Winged Knights are followers of the angelic faith of Lothric. The angelic faith was founded upon a tale revealed to Heavenly Daughter Gertrude by an angel. And by the way, in the original Japanese text, Gertrude is called Daughter of Angels, which is quite different from the Heavenly Child moniker associated with Guinevere. But this topic is discussed in more detail in a separate video. Gertrude was the queen of Lothric's holy maiden, and she used to teach miracles such as bountiful light to the knights of Lothric. She was eventually visited by an angel, who revealed to her the tale which forms the divine pillars of light miracle. And despite losing her sight and voice, Gertrude was determined to record and share this tale with others. Somehow she succeeded in this endeavor, and her tale became a foundation for the angelic faith. However, this new faith was not recognized by the three pillars of the king's rule: the knights, the scholars, and the high priestess. The angelic faith was deemed heresy, and Gertrude was imprisoned in a lofty cell under the ceiling of the Grand Archives. Well, in fact, it looks like things were the other way around. Gertrude was visited by an angel who revealed to her the miracle, apparently along with some power bestowed, and subsequently she was locked up in the archives to be researched and suffer certain experiments by the scholars. And only for the sake of justifying their actions and hunt down Gertrude's followers, they declared faith in the divine messenger a heresy. In the Twin Princess boss room, one can find heaps of feathers all around. Somewhat similar to those in Gertrude's cage and the ones that fall when the divine pillars of light miracle is cast. These feathers resemble the very same that are seen when Prince of Lothric casts what pretty much looks like the divine pillars of light miracle. Only little is told directly in the Souls games, so for some things to be conveyed, they are made as obvious as possible without being said outright. As you may have noticed, the visual effect of miracles tends to have a white coloring, while magic tends to be blue. The miracle and soul spear cast by Prince Lothric are of a yellowish white, similar to what Archdeacon Klim's mangroves cast. And it is also known from the crystal chime description that Gertrude was defiled by the scholars, and after experimentation with her chime, they succeeded in using it to cast both miracles and sorceries. So, could Prince Lothric's power and illness be connected to the experiments conducted on Gertrude? After all, the Lothric bloodline was obsessed with creating a worthy heir. And when this proved impossible, they resorted to unspeakable means. So it looks like after Gertrude's power was discovered, the scholars locked up the Heavenly Daughter to be defiled, experimented upon, and her miracles desecrated. And she was declared a heretic to justify this imprisonment and to prevent her teaching from spreading. However, while exploring Lothric Castle and its surroundings, one can find sites of battles between winged knights and knights of Lothric. Places filled with empty suits of Lothric knight armor, and corpses of winged knights stuffed full of Lothric knight swords and spears. We also meet winged knight survivors outside of and inside of Lothric Castle. seems that the winged knights who had sworn themselves to be angels launched a crusade of sorts to rescue, or at least reach, their heavenly daughter, Gertrude. Barricades at Lothric Castle allow us to assume that winged knights stormed the castle, heading for the Grand Archives. While the conflict between winged knights and Lothric is definitely proven, there are two theories about how the events transpired. Another theory is that the clashes between winged knights and Lothric knights occurred when Lothric tried to push them from the castle, where winged knights had been tolerated up until then. There is that hidden painting of a winged knight in the castle, after all. But in my opinion, that is not very likely, since all the barricades indicate that Lothric knights were defending Lothric Castle. And this sort of hints that winged knights were the attackers. And would they really allow Gertrude to be harmed right under their very eyes if they had been there to prevent it all along? Besides, the painting doesn't really look like it belongs where we find it at all, since it just leans up against the wall. This may hint that winged knights had secret allies inside of the castle, or perhaps they brought the painting with them when they stormed the castle. Then again, it may have been confiscated and taken to the castle to be hidden, like a forbidden picture of a heretical faith. There are also theories stating that the golden winged knights are in fact angels. But I don't know about that. To me they look more like elite knights, tasked with protecting Gertrude rather than mighty angels. In any regard, in my opinion, these guys are one of the coolest enemies in the game. I mean, they were clearly outnumbered, but still fought to reach and protect their heavenly daughter. And each one of them is so strong that it takes several Lothric knights to take them down. And they look cool with that fat armor and Maximilian style helmet. I hope you enjoyed this video. I tried to combine two things here, telling the, in my opinion, rather beautiful story of the knights who fought bravely to protect poor Gertrude, or at least what was left of her. While at the same time not presenting it as the only theory. So I had to put forth evidence supporting my views, while also allowing room for other possible theories. But I guess it is impossible to put forth a good case for both in one video, though I hope you were able to enjoy both views.